Let's begin with the Terminator Genisys trailer.
See for your weeping.
Yeah, today we're going to talk about Terminator. We're going to begin with Terminator Genisys, the new trailer, which I'm excited about as much as I can be for another Terminator film. Vince, I've been describing this movie, from what we've seen of it so far, as a really, really fun-looking movie that really doesn't have any business existing.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, at this point, I almost kind of feel like any Terminator movie past Terminator 2 has no real business existing, even if it's okay. Like, Salvation was okay. But
Salvation was the thing about Salvation. Of course, a lot of people hate. I don't say everybody. Most people didn't like that movie, and it was because it wasn't any fun for people. And they go into a Terminator movie, and they expect, they expect like maybe some heavy stuff, but it's an action fest. I mean, that's what these have always been. And besides the first one, which yes was that, but it was more of a horror film. And then since then, we've started to expect more sci-fi thriller, and we expect at least a certain amount of humor, right? And
especially from number 3, which was just, I think it was supposed to be tongue-in-cheek the whole time. It kind of came off as absurd to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess right now we're still at the place where the bar is T2.
Yeah.
And when we think of what the spirit of Terminator is supposed to be, we're really just saying, was that one movie that we really liked the flavor of it, and we've never really gotten back to that. I mean, again, I really like Terminator. I like the original quite a bit. Yeah. But I wouldn't expect us to get back to that tone, because ever since we did T2, this seems like a thing that you don't have to be like a mid-teen or an adult necessarily to watch. That like now it's more of a mainstream sci-fi thing. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Terminator Genisys strikes me as an attempt at doing exactly what Man of Steel did after its the prior movie in an attempted Superman franchise didn't deliver on what people really wanted, which is do the exact opposite. So Superman Returns, we didn't get to see Superman fight anybody, so Man of Steel was nothing but Superman fighting people, and Terminator. I'm oversimplifying a little bit, and then Terminator Salvation was no fun, so Terminator Genisys is just like wall-to-wall insane over the top.
Yeah, which I'm kind of hoping that it's going to be a little bit of a throwback. I mean,
it's going to be more than a little bit. It's clearly Terminator's greatest hits.
I mean, one of the things I was kind of pleased about was the casting for the girl. Looks a lot like Linda Hamilton. Looks
just like her.
And, I mean, obviously it's a different person. She's younger, great, but she does look like she could be related, and I think that's interesting. And I like some of the stuff that we get to see. I forget what the liquidy one's called.
T-1000.
Yeah, the T-1000. I like some of the stuff that we get to see. In the trailer, you see him chop off his blade hand, and it turns into a spear, and I think that's neat. And I'm glad that some of this stuff gets to exist. I mean, some of it I kind of wonder, like, is this more flair than needs to happen? Like, wouldn't there be an easier way than chopping off your hand, throwing it in the air, and then catching it?
Yeah, but then you think about the whole absurdity of the universe, and who cares?
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
because the whole conceit is super convoluted and doesn't make a lot of sense in the first place.
Yeah.
And as long as it's fun, and I like the characters, and it'd be really nice to get at least something akin to the sophistication of science fiction storytelling that we got from T2, because there's a lot of really interesting questions of identity and stuff in that movie, and of what makes a man, and that kind of stuff. And it goes back to the most classic questions that we like to deal with in science fiction, and that a lot of early classic science fiction likes to deal with regarding artificial intelligence. So I hope we can get back to that kind of stuff a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That would be nice. What I can't tell looking at it is if it's supposed to be the beginning of a new franchise, and I'm going to lean toward that because that's just what we do now. Is it like reinvigorating the Terminator franchise, or is it, or well, I guess it just depends on how well it does, or is it more of, well, we want to get it right one more time because nobody liked the last couple. Like this is very clearly the Star Trek 09 or Days of Future Past for this universe.
I think you're probably right. I don't imagine that they would sink money into anything these days without trying to make it a franchise of some kind. And, I mean, it's already a franchise. I feel like even if this one doesn't succeed, they might do another one. eventually.
Yeah, but if they can't make it work with Schwarzenegger and doing all that throwback stuff, they can't make it work.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm looking forward to seeing.
Even if the script's not that great, just getting all that nostalgia is probably enough to make money.
Yeah, I mean, Schwarzenegger was in the third one too, and that was kind of the worst of the group.
Yeah.
So I mean, they didn't.
But I'm just saying, bringing it back. I mean, like, I don't think Terminator was horribly in trouble after Rise of the Machines. Although I don't know how well it did. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if it made money, but I thought it did okay.
I don't know how it performed. I'm just
talking about how it performed. Yes, it wasn't great. What I'm saying is, if this movie bringing Schwarzenegger back after he hasn't been in it for a movie and for so many years and doing all that nostalgia stuff can't save it to make more, nothing can. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about the quality of it. I'm just talking about it actually performing and making money.
Fair enough. I mean, granted, personally, I'm satisfied with the first two. I'm glad we have the first two.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed those, and I don't need another really good one. I hope this one's good. I have high hopes for it, honestly. I think the trailer was really exciting and interesting. But, I mean, what's in a trailer other than, events?
Yeah, I mean, there is a part of me that wishes that and this would be super wishful thinking, that we could bring it back to TV because Sarah Connor was really good.
Yeah, I never watched that, but I heard good things.
It's cool.
I also heard some bad things. I don't. It was weird. I heard a lot of mixed reviews, but it seemed to lean more to the good.
Well, I don't know what part of the series you were people were seeing as you were hearing things. So
yeah, I mean that's just it. You hear good things, you hear bad things about every show.
Because I'm just saying it got really good.
Yeah, man.
Let's go ahead and move on to some other quick news. So Roberto Orci is leaving Star Trek. He was supposed to direct the new one. He's leaving. And when I first heard, because I somewhat famously am not real happy with the current franchise, and at the very, very least, I mean, I like those movies. I enjoy those movies, but it's not Star Trek for me, and I want to see it get back to TV eventually, and because of really weird stuff between the TV network and Paramount, CBS, we're not going to probably see it go back to TV until they're not doing these movies anymore, or at least that's been the thing for a while. There's been a lot of talk about Netflix, but that hasn't happened yet. It hasn't been hammered out yet, so whatever. Anyway, and Netflix is the very, very best possible place for Star Trek to go right now. But anyway. So when I first heard that Roberto Orci was taking the helm, I got really excited because I was like, yes, he will run it into the ground. Like it won't work, and then they'll be forced to go back to Prime or do some other kind of reboot that'll be more sophisticated and better, and yay. And now he's leaving. And so depending on who they get, there's a good chance that the movie will actually be good now, and then if it does really well, they'll kind of keep us in this, we only get Star Trek every 3 or 4 years thing, and I don't want that. So, I mean, I hope the movie's good, I guess, for the sake of the movie, but I also want us to get away from movies, start making a TV show again.
That's funny.
So this is good and bad news for me. The movie's probably going to be better without him. Roberto Orci has never directed anything before. I don't think he's a very solid writer, and anyway, I've talked about him before. This is good for the movie.
Well, they'll get U-Bowl or UA Bowl or however you pronounce that cat's name, and
they're looking hard at Edgar Wright, which is really interesting. I don't see him directing a Star Trek movie.
That's interesting.
I know.
Huh.
That seems very counter to what he does, but
comedy you would think, but
I guess we'll see.
Huh.
Isn't that interesting?
That's interesting. I'm kind of with you in hoping that certain franchises fail. Like I really want this Fantastic Four movie to just die so it can go back to Marvel.
So do I.
And like even if it's good, great, sure, I'll watch it. But even if it's bad, great, sure, I'll still watch it. But I really want it to die, and like nobody else but me go see it. So
you want it to do Punisher Warzone numbers?
Yeah, that's a franchise.
And you're saying even if it's good, it's like, yeah, but don't franchise it out and make it its own like lone wolf franchise, because there are certain properties inside of Fantastic Four that you and I have liked Marvel Studios enough to know that we can kind of see what they would do with them. And,
yeah, I really don't want Galactus to be terribly outside of Fantastic Four,
Yeah.
And I mean, Marvel has Galactus right now. I want the Fantastic Four to be involved. And
Marvel has Galactus?
Don't they?
Not that I know of.
Oh, maybe I heard that wrong.
I don't think they do. I mean, I could look into it harder. I've never heard that.
Well, maybe it was the Silver Surfer. I know that they
Silver Surfer and Galactus are packaged together.
I knew they had some
Or at least I
deal
always
where-
thought they were.
Or maybe it was Inhumans. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
There was a property that Marvel gets back now that was really tied at the hip to the Fantastic Four.
No, I want Marvel Studios to get Silver Surfer and Galactus. I think doing all this Thanos stuff is really strange without Silver Surfer in that universe.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though, is that you get Cosmic and you really have those two characters tied. I mean,
Yeah.
you have Marvel. I mean,
Just at the hip. Well, and then there's a couple things in X-Men that are a little weird for them not to have, but that's not as big of a deal. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to live without the Shi'ar if I can get Galactus and, you know.
yeah. Which, I mean, I kind of feel like the Shi'ar and in the movies is not necessarily a good idea to tie that to the X-Men anyway. I mean, I wouldn't really want to see Shi'ar or Brood. I mean, let's keep this a very Earth-based type of thing. I want to see humanity having to deal with X-Men, not X-Men having to deal with aliens.
Although, as we're getting bigger and bigger with the X-Men franchise right now, and we're going to do Apocalypse and stuff like that, I could kind of see them eventually going to space, and I could see them doing it well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say it would be bad. I just think that there might be some
I kind
more...
of trust Singer with whatever he wants to do with that, with where they're going right now, anyway. Because it seems like the one thing Singer really knows how to do is make X-Men movies.
I think Singer's really good at making things that don't involve capes.
I guess. No capes!
No cape for you.